Hi. What's up, guys? Can everybody hear me okay? Okay. Damn, got a few questions here. So you, Decoder, and Psych Substance are my only subscriptions on YouTube besides a few that don't produce anymore. Amazing. Music? I'm actually from Earth too, man. I don't know about you, but I'm from Jupiter. Hey, we did it, guys. Hang on a sec. Make it more official. Yeah. So we finally reached 100K. Dude, that's absolutely insane. I thought like it's funny because like when I first started my YouTube journey, it's like I don't know, before that I've never started a channel before. So that I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm speechless. What can I say? Is it only for me or is the stream lagging? All right, hang on. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna hotspot from my phone. So it's better connection. Okay. So hopefully this works better because I'm hotspotting from my phone now. How you feeling, man? I'm feeling good. I'm feeling really good. It's got my cocoa chili tea. Sorry for my slurping. Dropped the Jared Wright video. Yeah, I'm going to. Just figuring out some logistic stuffs with my first sponsor. So yeah, pretty exciting. Should be up probably next week. Yeah, because I was gonna drop it this week, but you know, shit happens, I suppose. Sorry, I actually forgot I'm infiltrating my mate's Tom's shit. Sorry, brother. What do you mean? What do you mean you're infiltrating my shit? Don't infiltrate my shit. Awesome. Holy shit. I remember discovering this channel at 8K. Yeah, I was definitely, well, I would still consider myself somewhat of a noob, maybe like intermediate, but yeah, when I first started, man, I remember I used like Windows Movie Maker. I had no idea about editing, speaking. I even remember my first video, I was like cotton mouth and sweating and like super nervous because of like, I don't know what it was, social anxiety, I guess. But I just really, really wanted to speak my mind about this ayahuasca substance. So I dropped my first video, which that was it, my first ayahuasca experience. And yeah, it was pretty good. I guess I was lucky in the fact that I got into this niche when it wasn't so popular. So people were searching for it, man. And now, Jesus, how many psychedelic channels are there now? Not saying I started this, of course. I think because like when I first started my channel, I think I discovered Psych Substance actually about maybe 2 months after I started my channel. And that sort of gave me more inspiration. Like, holy shit, you can actually make a living from this. You know what I mean? So Tom and Psych Substance are legends. Don't at me. Any plans on making psychedelic videos like trip reports or even trying to do challenges on psychedelics? Definitely no challenges on psychedelics. I'm still not planning on tripping. Like I don't want to say the rest of my life because that's a bit extreme, but not anytime soon, that's for sure. And not on video. But in terms of trip reports and stuff, like I do have a few experiences, a few profound experiences that I haven't talked about on this channel yet. And there have been a few trip reports which I've had to delete because I just didn't like how I approached it. I felt like I was, I don't know, like sort of promoting it and coming from like more of a naive viewpoint, which I think can be pretty destructive. So I might remake a few of them. Who knows? Who knows? We'll see how we go. Give me all your money. Shut up and take my money. I've been thinking of starting a Swedish harm reduction channel since there really is a market for that. Any tips on getting started with YouTube? Oh man, there's so much. I would recommend channels like Gary V, maybe Robert Blake, and just kind of get started with that because there's too much to unpack there. Are you gay? No, not that I know of. You rave, don't you? No, I don't actually. I guess I used to, but no, I haven't raved in a while, man. Even if it's gay, is it important? What about microdosing? No, even then, I haven't microdosed in over 2 years now. Yeah, not that I'm necessarily against it. I think, I don't know, because I think with mushrooms in particular, the potency varies so much. So you might think that you're microdosing, but you're actually getting quite a small dose, might make you trip by accident. I don't know. Don't skip the weed questions, buddy. Do you still smoke weed? I do. I do smoke weed. I'm like kind of on and off because it's like I smoke weed, but I don't want to smoke weed, if that makes sense. Are you a rebel and not pay for trans? Nah, definitely not. It's not worth the stress, man. Because as a kid, I used to be a little bit of a delinquent and steal from supermarkets and stuff like that. And I think, I don't know, at the age of 17, I guess I grew a conscience somewhere around there. And I can't do that. It's just not worth it. Because I think the fine now is like, I don't know, like $150. It's like, this is better to pay the couple dollars it costs. What do you think of chewed salvia? I think, well, I don't know. I haven't done it. So anything that I say about salvia is coming from a completely ignorant standpoint. But that being said, if I were to try salvia, it would be to chew it and not smoke it. Yeah, I think all those salvia challenge videos are like the really potent extracts, which is like on a whole other level. It's kind of like comparing freebase DMT to like ayahuasca, I guess, you know. Swim's latest video is far out, lol. I saw the start of it. Weed is good. Oh, weed is what it is. I wouldn't say it's necessarily good, but it's not bad either. Just depends on who's using it, I suppose. And it depends on the weed, right? Because, fuck, weed strains these days are a lot more potent than what they used to be back in the 80s. What's your viewpoint on the cosmos? It's freaking gigantic. I don't know what to say to that. Got any salvia? No, I've never done salvia, as I just stated. Where are you in Australia? I'm in Melbourne. So like the very far eastern suburbs of Melbourne. He was tripping on shrooms the entire video. Oh, was he actually tripping? Oh, okay. I guess that would sort of make sense. How are you? Are you doing all right? Yeah, life is awesome, actually. I'm doing fantastic. Could you tell us a story that you haven't told much people? I don't know. You'd have to at least give me something. There's like, I don't know, too many stories. How do you say, how do you smoke weed without doing it unconsciously? Well, you kind of said it in your own question. Just put more awareness into it, you know? It's not like, how would you say you smoke weed without doing it unconsciously? You gotta, I don't know. I don't even know what you're trying to ask. But I guess personally, when I smoke weed, I at least try to be present with it, like purposely go off my phone and don't distract myself with stimulation and things like that. So whether it's smoking with people, I'll make sure I'm present, really into the conversation with that particular person, or if I'm doing it by myself, I'll either meditate, listen to music, maybe put on an audiobook or something like that. But yeah, I'm not too sure what you mean by your question. What you gardening on salvia? Hi. Hello, Burning Barnes Blunts 420. Do you think it gets harder to have good experiences the longer you use psychedelics? Yes. Yes, I do. I don't know why, whether it's like something inherent in the human mind or whether it's inherent in psychedelics themselves, but it seems to give you better, more joyful experiences at the start of your psychedelic journey, and they seem to be more harsh on veterans. I don't know about you guys, but that's definitely been the case for me, and I know a lot of people that I've talked to, so I don't know, maybe it's like one of those things that we're only supposed to do a handful of times, you know, and that's why I personally subscribe to Alan Watts' philosophy when he says, once you get the message, hang up the phone. And it's not that hang up the phone as if, oh, there's nothing left to teach you, but it's more, I don't know, it's unnecessary, man. Like, because what's more important than learning lessons is embodying those lessons. And sometimes even one trip, hell, man, even, for example, like my last trip was the Iboga experience over 18 months ago. And even now, I'm still processing it, right? Even just a month ago, I would say that I'm confident that I've integrated that experience for the most part. I'm sure there's more to unpack there. But yeah, there's an example. It took 18 months for me to process one trip. You know what I mean? So you're a great guy. Thankfully, YouTube has people like you. Oh, thank you, Psilocybe Dimension. Appreciate it. I try to be. But I can be an asshole too, so don't think I'm an angel or anything. Your video taught me how to learn things from weed. That's good. As it's been some time now, what are your thoughts on the Cambo you did with Chris Kelly? There's not really much to say. I think my enthusiasm for psychedelics and plant medicine and all these modalities to heal yourself has kind of faded a little bit. Whereas like don't get me wrong, the incredibly profound tools and all that kind of stuff, but I don't know. I think the emphasis is so much on integration that no matter how many times I have Cambo to like cleanse myself or whatever, I don't think it's going to do much in the long term, if that makes sense. So I'm trying to like more, I don't know, man, just be human, I suppose. And to me, psychedelics is not a human thing. It can teach you about being human, but it can be very cosmic and alien, especially in the high doses. So I'm just, I don't know. Do you believe in occultist/ancient knowledge like alchemy, hermeticism, etc.? I do. I've actually been quite obsessed with hermeticism. And the next video that I'm working on actually is like the biggest project I've ever worked on since I've started this channel. And it's got a lot of occult knowledge in it. So good stuff. Like if any of you guys haven't heard of the 7 Hermetic Principles, I would highly recommend you guys check that out. It gives you a good overall guide map, you know. I'm in Melbourne. Can you sell me some? I really don't. I'm sorry, mate. I'm going to have to. Don't ask me for drugs, guys. It just makes no sense. If anything, you should offer me drugs, not the other way around. It doesn't work that way. Has your girlfriend been with you throughout your entire channel's history? Yeah. We've been together for about 6.5 years now. So yeah, no, she was definitely with me throughout the whole time. Sorry from all of us to boost your ego, even though you're a humble fellow. I can be. I try to remind myself to be humble. And my girlfriend's really good at that. As soon as I get up my own ass, she's like, dude, come on. Just slaps me back down to reality. Do you like Alan Watts and Terence McKenna? I appreciate their philosophies for sure. I think they can be overrated, but it's not their fault. I think just people tend to put people on a pedestal, you know, and it's happened with me as well. It's like, man, I'm a fucking human just like you. Don't think that we're anything special. My past 3 trips have all been really dark and negative, but I really don't understand why. I didn't understand the message it was trying to give me either. I just felt really alone and empty. Can you relate? Well, yeah, for sure. I think when your trips start to get darker and darker as time goes on, it's like, because sometimes when we have a psychedelic trip, it opens up the floodgates to massive levels of the shadow trying to integrate itself back to the whole, right? So what you perceive to be like just really, whatever it is, whether it's a demonic trip or like some crazy existential crisis, it's just like you're getting shown something that you weren't really willing to face. So it's just time, man. Time and integration. And when I say integration, I mean like really talking to somebody. Because if you feel alone, we all need a tribe. We're all human. So yeah. Tom, have you ever made LSD before? No, I have no interest in making LSD. What's the best way to deal with depression? Well, interesting you asked that, because I'm reading a what's his name? I don't have my phone here, but it's Joanne something. It's called The Real Causes of Depression and Anxiety. It's the same author from Chasing the Scream, which was about the war on drugs. But anyways, it's a really, really awesome book, man. And obviously it's a long book and a lot that goes into it, like scientific studies and all that. But really, I'm just going to butcher it. But depression and anxiety basically boils down to isolation, right? Loneliness and disconnection. So that's why things like SSRIs or things like that don't really work in the long term, you know, because we get told that, oh, depression is a result of low serotonin. But no, it's not actually. It's the low serotonin that's an effect of something else. And we never look at that. We never look at the underlying factors, right? And I think that's why when I first did ayahuasca, it helped me so much. It wasn't actually, like, I think back on hindsight now, it wasn't actually the ayahuasca that helped. I think it was the fact that I went to another country. I went to this retreat, had this community, right? These people that I could relate and connect with. And then I went back home, I started this channel, and I had like this meaning and purpose. I think like that's what really helped me. The ayahuasca was just that little boost. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. If you can get something that can help your brain chemistry, it all helps, but it's never going to be the final answer, if that makes sense. So I think having a community, having a tribe is the number one most important thing if you want to overcome depression. And yeah, so if you want to check out that book, go ahead. If you want your rational mind to be satisfied, then it's got a lot of scientific studies. Okay. It's been a while since I've done a live stream, eh? Changing the tools, i.e. Okay, when you get the message, hang up the phone, can refer to maybe changing the tools for learning, i.e. from psychedelics to philosophy/psychology. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And there's just so much that we don't know what psychedelics do, man. First of all, we don't even know anything about consciousness and even far less about psychedelics. So we have absolutely no idea. And I think it does matter what psychedelic you're taking. I don't think it's all just the human mind and, you know, they all connect you to the same thing, but through a different lens. I don't really believe that. I think that different psychedelics will have different effects, you know. And it's like in nature, you know, you've got the more benevolent plants and then you've got the more malevolent plants, right? But, you know, you can't, like, you're going to have a different reaction if you rub poison ivy on your face versus lavender. You know what I mean? They're both nature. And I don't think that's a projection of our mind. I think that's inherent in nature. And I think certain psychedelics are like that. And I don't know. Maybe it's things like Datura is not exactly as friendly as, let's say, I don't know, low dose mushrooms. And who knows, maybe with mushrooms, with the different species, it does something different, even if it's subtle. It's hard to say, because like even with mushrooms, I've only had the one species that grow here. So I've never had like cubensis, you know, which could be a completely different experience. I don't know. Anyways, so Adventure Princess asks, how have you been living life differently now that you're out of your existential crisis phase? Do you still have moments of being overwhelmed with existence? For the vast majority of the time, I'm good. Not just good, but actually even better than what I was before that experience. It just took, like I said, a long time. Good. Like 9 months for me to be not unbroken, and then 18 months for me to like really understand and embody these lessons that I was forced to learn. So how do I approach life differently? Well, it's sort of what I was saying before. I'm just more focused on being human, being grounded, on the more mundane stuff and friends, family. It's like nothing profound actually. But I actively avoid things that are gonna get me too much out there. You know, like for example, I had a podcast with Jared Wright, and literally during the first 5 minutes of the podcast, we saw a UFO. And I've never seen a UFO in my entire life. I've always been interested in aliens, but I never chased it, I suppose. And even after the experience, I saw it with my own freaking eyes with 3 other witnesses. We're completely sober, so it's nothing to do with drugs or anything. And then later that night, it popped up and showed itself twice, right? And usually that kind of experience would get someone to like really delve deep into these UFOs and what this is about. But for me, I was like, yeah, like it was a nice experience. It actually triggered some things that helped me have these revelations. But I didn't go home after that and like obsessively researching aliens, you know, because I've made that same mistake throughout my whole life, where when I first get into something, I go into it too much, you know, like I jump into the deep end, and it's never turned out well for me. So now I'm like, yeah, it was a nice experience. It was cool story. I'll make a video on it eventually, but I'm not going to start studying UFOs and aliens because it's too much out there. You know what I mean? I don't know. I can tell you what I saw, but it's up to you how you want to interpret it, you know? And yeah, good point on the Cambo answer. Thanks. No worries, James. Thanks for asking. Thanks for the question. Why psychedelics usually do not cause dependency? It's pretty hard to be dependent on psychedelics, but some people do, man. People will never fail to surprise me. Whilst I thought psychedelics are completely non-addictive, I've met people who do psychedelics way too much, and they get fucked up and they keep taking psychedelics. So I don't know, man. People are weird. Oh, dear Tom, I would like to know, how do you deal with shame? Oof, that's a tough one. Starts off with hanging out with good people, I suppose. That's a lot to unpack there. Yeah. Actually, I would give you a recommendation from someone who's a lot wiser than me about these things with emotions. Is there's a book called How to Let Go by Dr. David Hawkins. Yeah. So check out that, Dr. David Hawkins, and he'll go through all those emotions. And he says that shame is like the lowest vibratory emotion on the map of consciousness, what he calls. Do you like to create art of some description when you're under the influence, play an instrument, draw, animate, poetry? Well, by under the influence, like the only drug that I do take these days is weed, really. And yeah, I like to play. I was just playing guitar before, actually, and I really like creating. That's why with this whole YouTube channel, I've been taking more of an artist approach. That's why if you've noticed, my upload frequency has been less and less over time, but the quality has been more and more and more. You know, like when I first started this channel, pretty much all my videos was just me talking in front of the camera, and that's it. And like some people enjoy that. Like I enjoy it too, because it's good practice for public speaking and stuff, but it gets a little bit boring over time. So I like to create like documentaries and thought-provoking videos and just really help people think. But more importantly, I think it's important to have fun while doing it. I used to be really into drawing when I was young, but man, because I can only focus on one thing at a time, my mind gets too scattered because I want to do everything. I love playing music. I like drawing. I like photography, making videos, writing, speaking. It's like, oh, maybe that's why I do YouTube, because it's sort of, I can incorporate anything. So how'd you meet your girlfriend? I've made a video on this, so if you want to check it out, just go on my channel. It's like just type in your mate Tom girlfriend Q&A, and we'll tell the story there. Cocaine sucks. Yeah. Yes, it does. Jordan Peterson is the dude to help you. Yeah, he did. He was a great help when I was like in the midst of my existential crisis. And I also got help from like therapy and coaches and stuff. So bongs or joints? And I do not smoke. I'm like, if anything, I'm anti-bongs because I used to smoke it when I was a kid too much. No, I don't mix it with tobacco, just pure. I mix it with Bear Blend, actually. It's really good. Did you see the actualize.org episodes on spiral dynamics? Fucking deep, bro. Yeah, I did. I saw all of them. And while it's a very interesting model, I feel like it's a very egoic thing to fall into. You know what I mean? Because as soon as I watched all those videos, I started to put people in like, okay, this person I know, he's blue, and then that person's yellow, and blah, 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 blah. So it can be very a slippery slope into just labeling people and like, okay, you're a blue, that means you're below me, and you need to transcend to green and then yellow and whatever. For those people who have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about, check out actualize.org episode on it. But it's interesting, but again, I don't know, man. I think that dude took way too many psychedelics. Hey, Tom, do you deal with shame? It seems to me it's one of the darkest human. Yeah. Well, like I said before, I don't know if you asked that question after I talked about it, but yeah, no, it is. Shame is the darkest human emotion because there's guilt, which is like, I'm ashamed of what I did, but shame is like, with who you are as a person, and that's can create a lot of fragmentation, you know. So yeah, it's pretty fucking dark, man. Do you think we were smarter millions of years ago with the shrooms and DMT? No. It's called evolution. I think spiritually we haven't evolved much, but intellectually we obviously have with technology and stuff like that. But I don't know, because taking shrooms and DMT doesn't make you smarter. And now that we know so much more about the human mind and the nature of reality and the structure of nature and all that kind of stuff, psychedelics can help us connect those dots even further, because it does matter what you learn, what your belief systems are, because that's what the psychedelic experience is going to build upon, you know. That's why you have people in the Amazon who believe in plant spirits, and then you have these pre-Vedic Buddhists who believe in non-duality, and there is no self, right? It all depends on what you learn. About to do my first eye ceremony. Absolutely shitting 8 hours, dude. Man, I remember just so much of my shadow was like rising to the surface. We've got more than one species of mushies. Yeah, I know, but I've only had the one here. Do you smoke cigarettes? No. I used to be a long-term cigarette smoker. I smoked for almost 10 years. But now I haven't had a cigarette in 7 years. A long time, yeah. And do not miss it whatsoever. Unless you count Mapacho, which is an Amazonian tobacco, but it's a little bit different. What are the 3 main lessons psychedelics taught you? That's a good question. On the top of my head, the first one that comes to mind is there is no time. From the absolute perspective anyway. 2, they taught me how much I don't really know, which is really important, very humbling experience. And 3, it taught me what it means to be human. Right. And I can go into that, but yeah, in a nutshell. Oh, it's getting pretty cold, man. Big Less Show is dope. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Oh, hang on. So I'm missing out. I'm getting more comments than I can handle. G'day, Tom, mate. What's going on? Been especially enjoying the quality of your content recently. Was just wondering when that Jared podcast will release. It'll come out next week. As I was just saying to you guys before, I'm just working on logistics on the sponsorship and just setting that up. So, but I did release it on Patreon. If you want to have an early edition, go check that out. If not, just wait till next week. But it will come, mate. It will come. Best podcast I've ever done so far. And it's a long one too. It's like 2.5 hours. But it didn't drag on. That was the beautiful thing. And it kind of went full circle. Yeah. And I love Jared's like one of my favorite human beings ever. Hey, Tom, huge fan. Have you tried blending weed and bear blend? I'm interested. Yeah, I have. Much smoother and better, actually. Yeah. Are you half green, half yellow, or turquoise? Well, the one that I resonated with the most in terms of the positive aspects and the negative aspects would be yellow, because I'm in my fucking head. But see, that's what I don't agree with Leo when it's like, oh, yellow is like the higher thing than green. It's like, not really, because some of the people he put in turquoise, it's like I completely disagreed with. But I don't know, man. Yeah, I guess green, bit of yellow, maybe a tiny bit of turquoise, but I haven't embodied that yet. Bro, have you walked into a 7-Eleven while tripping at? No, I have not. Why don't you trip anymore? Just integrating, man. I just don't see any benefit to continue this psychedelic road for me personally. I want to get to that point where I can transcend that and I just won't need any drugs whatsoever. And I can get to that whole other level. Because I don't know, something that I've noticed is like, or a question to ask you guys, like, have you ever met an enlightened tripper before? Exactly. It doesn't exist. So it's like it helps during the awakening stages, but they'll never really help you reach self-actualization. And I think even just the whole, like subconsciously taking a substance to like spiritually grow is like reinforcing this scarcity mindset. And I'm like, oh, I need an external substance to kind of access this thing that I already have within, you know? But that's just my view on it, you know? You think Leo himself is turquoise? No, definitely not. I think I'm not going to get into it here. I don't want to, I don't want drama. Don't do psychedelics on a breakup, bad idea. Yeah, no shit. Tom, CG Kid, what's up, man? Everybody, CG Kid's here. How very kind of you. Can you answer my question at 2:14? It's important. What do you mean? 2:14. Just ask it again. Because when more comments come, it like automatically scrolls down, and yeah, I'm not going to be scrolling up this whole live stream. Hey. Laugh my ass off. I have a magenta aura. What does that mean? You tell me, bro. Do you think one could have a happier life if one is higher in the social hierarchy? Jordan Peterson explained that serotonin level is higher in persons who are higher in social hierarchies. His lobster analogy. Well, like I was just speaking about before, the real causes of depression and anxiety is actually isolation, right? Because if you go back in the caveman days, we needed to be in a tribe to survive. So it kind of makes sense on an evolutionary standpoint. But also we are social creatures, you know, we need people. So it makes sense that the higher up you're in the social hierarchy. Well, I don't know about the hierarchy. I don't know about that. But I think the more friends that you have, like close friends that you can trust with your life, especially in times of a crisis, like the more of those people you have in your life, generally speaking, the better you're going to feel, like the more serotonin you're going to have or whatever. Angel Avalos. What psychedelic-based books would you recommend? Personally, I think it's more important to read books on psychology and philosophy and existentialism, things like that, because these are really going to help you build the foundation to understand these psychedelic trips. You know, I don't like learning about the pharmacology of what ayahuasca does and which like serotonin receptor attach you. It's not going to help you at all during a trip. Like it's interesting to learn if you're into that, but it's never really going to help you. But psychedelic, the only one that I've really read and I'd recommend would be the Psychedelic Experience, which is sort of like it's sort of like the Tibetan Book of the Dead, but they relate it to psychedelics. So it's one of the books that Timothy Leary worked on. It was 3 authors, like Timothy Leary, Ram Dass, maybe Ram Dass. I don't know. Anyways, the Psychedelic Experience. It's the only one that I've really read. But another one that I would really recommend, which will help you more than even that book would be Cutting Through Spiritual Materialism. That's a really good one to help you on your path. Wow, you're really integrating, man. Now with 10% off Bear Blends. How amazing. Another channel buying its soul off towards some cash. Okay, let me ask you a question. If I was to just work at McDonald's, would that be better? Like, we live in a fucking society, dude. I'm sorry, but meditation doesn't pay the bills. It's just funny people who say that. And I can guarantee you work at a job that's not your number one passion in life. People are funny. It's the irony, man. Ooh, that irony. What is the strongest substance you've taken? Ayahuasca, I guess. Do you believe in infinity? You'd have to expand on that, but yeah, sure. Jordan Peterson uses already existing notions to try and push his agenda of ruthless capitalism and state hierarchy. Everything that we speak of is already using pre-existing notions. So I don't know what you mean by that. I heard an interesting quote. It's like, there's no such thing as originality. There's only remixes, right? So everything that we learn, everything that we speak is like built upon a foundation that was already there. But of course, truth holds up, right? And truth is always true, whether your perceptions align with it or not. That's something that I've learned. Do you have any trips when trip sitting? Do I have any trips when I'm trip sitting? Well, I wouldn't really be a good trip sitter if I'm tripping. I said trip in a lot of times, that sentence. How do you smoke weed, and why are you anti-bongs, ignoring your past? I'm not ignoring my past. I've completely integrated my past. I'm against bongs because it's just way too much weed in a short period of time that fucks you up. And I think at least with joints, it's more of a slow onset. So just remember, like, the harder something hits you, the worse the come down is going to be. And ultimately, the worse it's going to be for your health. And even, I'm not saying joints are healthy by any means. Like, I think burning plant matter is not going to be good for you. But I think it's the better option for sure. And it just reminds me of just, I don't know, just derelicts. That's all. I think I just met way too many people who just ruin their lives from just smoking bongs every day. And I know it depends on the person, but that's just what I relate it to. Do you think it is important to have a best friend or partner? Yeah, like, based on my current understanding, yeah, I do think it's important to have a best friend. Yeah. At least a close friend that you can trust, for sure. Urgent advice on cannabis addiction. Cannot seem to stop, and I'm genuinely scared about my future. I have a music career I want to fulfill, but I keep seeming to go back to weed. Well, you got to check out you got to be more aware of the triggers. Like, what gives you that need to smoke weed? You know what I mean? Like, is it when you meet your friends? Is it when you wake up in the morning? Is it at a certain time? Like, first of all, you got to be aware of what's triggering you to smoke weed, and also reminding yourself on why you want to quit. And I think it's even more importantly, this is a technique that Jordan Peterson teaches in his self-help. What is it? The self-authoring program, whatever. He paints a picture. He tells you to paint a picture of your hell and what would the worst case scenario be if you keep doing the thing that you're doing, right? And it's going to be very upsetting. It's going to bring up a lot of negative emotions, but it's usually these negative emotions that motivate you more than the positive ones. You know what I mean? Like in other words, pain is more potent than pleasure. And usually we're going to, I think Elliot Holtz uses this example, this analogy. It's like, if someone offers you like $1 million to run as fast as you can, you're going to run pretty fast, right? But you're not going to run as nearly as fast if you have these dogs that are chasing you, right? Wanting to bite your ass. So in other words, it's like that. Yeah, that pain is going to, I know, I'm lost for words. You know what I'm saying. I hope you know what I'm saying anyway. Does the bear blend herb thing get you high? Well, the high is subjective, but yeah, it does. Not in the same level as weed, of course not, because they're just legal herbs. But the negative bias, yes, exactly, the negative bias. Should I do psychedelic drugs if I suffer from minor depression or after a breakup? No, I'd recommend not. Like I said, it's better to have a community, because you can have the most profound psychedelic trip, which may trick you into thinking you've cured your depression. But if you go back to your normal environment, assuming that it's a toxic environment, then you're just going to go back to your old self. It's going to be even more painful because you're going to have more awareness, right? And the more awareness you have on your negative behavior patterns, the more painful it becomes. But in the long term, it's a good thing, because it will help you process it. And sometimes we need to pay off our karmic debt, so to speak. You ever done a Vipassana retreat? I'm attending one in Blackheath in November. I'm actually strongly considering going to one in December. But no, I haven't been to one yet. No, I've heard they can have pretty profound results. Can 15, 14-year-old do LSD? Yeah, you can do whatever you want, but I would advise against it for sure. Wait till you're 25. Don't forget, it's all programming. Your body believes what you believe. If you believe the warning crap on the cigarette packets, you are helping that program come true. I black market all my packs. Yeah, but that's just... Isn't that just denial, though? Are you trying to, like, tell your brain that cigarettes are healthy? It's like me saying, I can fly, and ignoring the laws of gravity and then jumping off a cliff. I'm going to fall no matter how much I believe that I'm going to fly. And just like cigarettes with literally thousands of chemicals that go into them. Yeah, it's a bad idea, dude. Hey, Yesenia's here. Oi, what's up? Yeah, that's not good. That's new age ideology. If I ignore negativity, then it doesn't exist. Thoughts on tripping at music festivals? It seems a bit too overwhelming for me. I did it once, didn't like it. We are in a simulation. Sure? Maybe. Not new age, government programming, brainwashing. So you're saying that cigarettes are healthy and it's just the government telling you that they're unhealthy? Yeah. Aren't all things you tell yourself that you believe just a flight from now? Huh? Okay, we're getting a lot of questions here. Hang on. Hey, Tom, I just wanted to get your thoughts and opinions on this. I used to regularly smoke weed, but I have a few really bad experiences. I've had a few really bad experiences and considering smoking again, but I'm a little hesitant. Well, if you hesitate, don't smoke. Yeah. It's all good, man. You can still have a good life not smoking weed. It's fine. Cigs with chemicals are bad. Yeah, exactly. I'm not saying tobacco is bad. I think that is a program. I think it's more the chemicals. I want to go to DEF CON, but the Australian drugs are dirty as fuck. Yeah, apparently. Lol, cigs aren't healthy. End of story. We're all tubes. Things we eat come out the other side, and our brains just make it easier to find things to eat. Okay. Do you think you have ever gone crazy without knowing during a psychedelic phase or experience and realizing later? This is the comment. Please answer more. So have I gone crazy without knowing? Yeah. Probably throughout the majority of my psychedelic trips, because a lot of them I thought that I was tapping into something really profound, but I think it was just the psychedelics hijacking my nervous system and projecting shit from my ego. based on my belief system. So yeah, probably the majority of stuff. But just because you have crazy experiences doesn't mean you can't learn from it. So opinion on 2CB. I'm not a fan of the synthetics. Yeah. Only take natural products that the earth gave us and don't believe the programming. Yes, to a certain extent, because Datura and poison ivy are also natural, but yeah, within reason, of course. I know what you're saying there. Hi, Tom. Have you ever taken an MBTI personality test? Do you think psychedelics have influenced your personality? I have taken the personality test, and what came up was, I forgot the initials of it, but it was the mediator, right? And have psychedelics influenced my personality? In terms of being more open to experience, yes. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, don't use psychedelics after a breakup, guys. Come on, set and setting. You know this. Why do people ask this? You know the answer to the question. And thank you. And by the way, thank you guys for all the love and support. We could not have done this without you. And I can't believe we even hit 100K. It's crazy. But to be honest, I was more mind blown when I hit my first 10K. It kind of just, I don't know, it's weird. Like the more videos you make, like at the start, you got to grind, learn about what you're doing, learn to be better at filmmaking, all that kind of stuff. And then it kind of takes a life of its own and just grows by itself, sort of. Like, of course, you got to, be active, somewhat active, but can you explain why things like weed or psilocybin are bad underage? Because when you're a kid, even now, like put it this way, I'm 26 and I still feel like a kid. I feel like this Iboga experience was like that initiation. I think I became an adult after that experience, actually, right? And that's at 26, so let alone like an actual fucking kid where you really don't know much. You're easily suggestible. And I don't think it's a good idea to go far out on psychedelics, especially when you have to go to school and you live with your parents. It's just not worth it, man. It's just not worth it. And your brain's not fully developed, and you can easily develop things like derealization, solipsism, HPPD, which is actually a lot more common with younger people. And I don't think that's a coincidence. Hi, Tom. What is your highest dose of LSD, and how come you don't take it as much? Well, I don't take it at all, but my highest dose was 150 micrograms. And, some people can be like, oh, you're a pussy, mate. I've fucking taken 600 micrograms. Well, I actually think you're a pussy for taking that much and not be able to go into that state. So I took 150 and went to like ayahuasca space. So it kind of depends on where you're at, how sensitive you are. And just the more I progress on this path, the more sensitive I've become, which is a good thing. Sometimes it's not such a good thing. But would you say that MDMA has made your life pale in comparison? No, maybe when I was a kid and I was into drugs and shit, yeah, of course. So being sober sucked, but now I see the MDMA realm. Just that whole realm, man, it's just not worth it. Like sober life is the best life. It just depends. But it depends, right? Because if your life sucks, then obviously your sober life is going to suck too. So that's why you got to build upon your life and improve. What is natural though? Be natural. Well, the etymology of natural, it means God, actually. So whatever was here before humans. Everyone, please don't underestimate kratom addiction potential. 26, wow, you're young. Yeah. I think it's all about the maturity. I smoked weed at like 14, and that's when it was the worst for me. And that honestly just kind of ruined weed for me. You're easily influenced. Hi. Yeah, exactly. And when you're a kid, especially, people are dickheads, man. So wise words, Tom. People are dickheads. Your mate, Tom. Yeah, so wise. The wise fool, perhaps. Any tips for doing psychs when you don't feel like it? I'm sorry, but to me, that's a silly question. If you don't feel like it, don't do it. You don't have to do psychedelics. And I think it does more damage than good when you do it over and over and over again. Again, and I'm going to reiterate this a lot as time goes on, but there is no such thing as an enlightened tripper. Just remember that. Okay, so it's just easy. It can, like, I know it seems tempting to like speed up your spiritual progress, and I'm speaking for myself. I was always being obsessed. I want so impatient. I want it now. I want spiritual growth now. I want to go to Peru and drink ayahuasca and deal with my demons all at once so I can just fucking get rid of it. It's that kind of mentality can lead you down a slippery slope. Because the thing is, when you take psychedelics when you're not ready for it, it's kind of like getting thrown in the deep end without knowing how to swim, right? So your ego is going to potentially cling on to all these potentially incorrect meanings to the experience. And that's why people have different interpretations, right? Have you heard of Herbstrong, the CBD oil brand that you can legally get in Australia? They reached out to me, so I do have an opportunity to be sponsored by them. Are they worth it? I'm very kind of, what do you call it? Skeptical when it comes to products. That's why even this one that my first sponsor, which will be on my next podcast, it took me like months to like really try their product, make sure it's authentic and congruent to my values and stuff like that. Yeah, it's hard to find genuine people, eh? Everyone give Tom a thumbs up. What are your past and current thoughts on psilocybin? Well, when I first started, I, jumped in and started sucking the dick of the psilocybin gods a little bit too much and thought they were like God's gift to Earth, here to help humanity and stuff. And now it's like, I kind of see it for what it is. It can be very helpful, healing-wise, maybe treating depression, at least to help understand your depression. I would say it helps you understand your depression versus curing it. Because like I said before, it's all about your tribe. You can have the most profound psilocybin trip in the world, but if you go back with no close friends that you can trust with your life, you might even get to a worse place than what you have before. Like this story, I was listening to the Duncan Trussell, their Family Hour podcast, and he talked about how someone listened to him talk about ayahuasca, and then he flew to ayahuasca. He had bipolar. And after he got home, after drinking ayahuasca, he committed suicide. It's fucking sad. And of course, it's not anyone's fault. It's just sometimes these things kind of happen. But I guess how do I relate this? But with my current sort of my current thoughts on psilocybin, I think it's a very, very profound tool. Very profound. And I think it can be an extremely bad thing under the wrong circumstance, but it can also be a profoundly positive thing under the correct circumstance. And I think even more important than the sense setting is, again, I'm always going to drill this home, is integration, right? But yeah, I think it's pretty good stuff. It's one of my my favorite psychedelics, I think. Even though I don't do it, but you know what I mean. I feel ready. No, but I could mistake it for what Tom just said. This mentality could lead me down a slippery slope. Could. I'm not saying any of this like scare you guys or to take. I'm just take it more seriously. And when I say this, I mean like just read about philosophy, read some Jung, read some Jordan Peterson, read or whatever you want to read, but just get your knowledge up there, right? Practice meditation, exercise, just the real basic stuff. Don't just jump in to ayahuasca land like I did. Do you like New Zealand, and have you been to what? Chich? I'm from there. I don't know what you said, but yeah, New Zealand's awesome. It's like Australia's Canada. Do you think Jester has a positive polarity? Well, the law of polarity states that there are two sides to everything. So yeah, sure. But I think the Jester archetypes is kind of leads towards more of the negative side of things. Like there's a real sinister, fucked up Jester, like the Joker from the Batman, which is like the darkest villain of all time. And then you've got the more positive Jester, which is like, I don't know, people like Jim Carrey, for example, right? Who just wants to spread joy to people. So yeah, of course, sure. I like that you have a stream just answering questions and giving your opinion. I always love hearing people's perspective on things. Well, thanks for jumping on the live stream. What's your opinion on opioid addiction? What do you want me to say? It's a tragedy, I think. Luckily, I never got into it, so I can't speak from Dingo. Sorry, I was just reading. I can't speak from experience. So someone's like, have you tried with your sponsor, Bear Blend? Well, they're not my sponsor technically. It's an affiliate. And the difference between an affiliate and a sponsor is that a sponsor will pay you up front for mentioning their product, whereas an affiliate, you just get 10% commission or whatever. But yeah, have you tried the liquid herbs? I actually have one now. They sent me a few free products, so it's nice of them. So this one I'm having right now is it's called Moon. It's good. I like it. It's completely nicotine free, and it's just it's a herbal blend, berry flavor. I don't know. It's pretty good though, but it's pretty relaxing. So it's more of the mellow side. Hey Tom, I was just wondering how to enhance further spirituality. I feel like I've reached a wall and cannot go any further. What's the next step? Well, I see that can be how to enhance. See, right there, like wanting to enhance or progress, it's completely an egoic approach. And it's hard. I know, man, I feel you. But sometimes you hit a wall and you're like, fuck, how do I progress? I want to get out of this rut. But having that forceful energy just kind of makes it worse. So sometimes you got to just let it unfold, man. And I don't know, what's the next step? I don't know you, man. So I'd have to talk to you in person to unpack it. Thoughts on spice? I think it's the devil's drug. I've seen people, oh man, I've seen scary shit and people getting addicted to that. Yeah. Is there THC in your vape? No. it's Bear Blend. No semen. Have I tried semen retention? Yeah, it's not for very long. It's something that's difficult for me. The sex count, or is it just no masturbation? Because I don't think my girlfriend will be happy if I don't give her sex. What do you think about binaural beats? I recently tried one and had some really intense and confronting dreams. If it works for you, it works for you. You know, some people will always go like, oh, it's just placebo, but who cares? If it helps you go into that state, then it helps you get into that state. Keep doing it. It's something that I think is really good for beginners and something that I personally used a lot when I first got into meditation. The theta, 432 hertz, binaural beats. Xanax is only prescribed to people with mental health issues. But then it never helps, you know, because again, you're approaching an issue on the symptom level. You're like, oh, you have anxiety because of a brain imbalance. It's like, yeah, but why does that person have a brain imbalance? And I get really, breathe, Tom, it's okay. It just annoys me because it just makes it worse over time, right? And my thoughts on things like antidepressants, it's like, listen, if you're on the brink of suicide and SSRIs can help you buy a few days, right? Can help you get that bit of energy to get up in the morning and do exercise, fucking awesome, great. But aside from that, like using it for like, oh, I feel depressed, therefore I need to take this drug. And then what happens? Your brain starts to adapt, and then it will have to grow more serotonin receptors, right? It's like a tolerance thing. And then once you get off them, you're more depressed than when you started. It's just a very ignorant way of approaching it. And I think we're going to look back on antidepressants in, who knows, a few decades from now as a barbaric practice. We're going to view antidepressants as we view electroshock therapy now, you know? And so I think some countries still do it, but yeah, it's not good, man. And by the way, that goes the same with psychedelics, because people will be like, oh, microdose, but it's still the same thing. It might be a bit help. Like if I had to choose between microdosing mushrooms and SSRIs, of course I'm going to choose the mushrooms, but it's kind of the same thing. You should never rely on an external substance to help you feel better. Like, you know, that's what food is for, like eating healthy. Have you heard of salt nicotine? Huh? Nope. What the jeebus is salt nicotine? What do you think of the idea that psychedelics could be thought of as a mean of exploration of the collective unconscious? Yeah, it's if you actually go back on my videos, it's something that I've been preaching since like ages. Yeah, it could be. Could be. I think it's one of the aspects, but I also think that they give us access to something that is incomprehensibly strange and something that we will never understand, right? And maybe it depends on the psychedelic. I think it contacts us with something else, a lot more than that, but yeah, maybe. Tom, you say smoking plants wasn't quite healthy, but why don't you consume THC via edibles then? I find the come up. Yeah, I'm of course, but see, there are two things about that. Number one, I don't have access to edible weed, and I don't want to take. I don't want to be on weed all the time. That's just something that I do from time to time, kind of on and off, you know. And it's too long. It's an ordeal. It's like if I take an edible, it's like my whole day it will have to be dedicated to that, and I don't like that either. So it depends. But yes, I completely agree. I much prefer edibles. I just feel better, and it's better for you. It's just too long, man. I got shit to do. How do you face your past regrets on drug abuse in the past? Yeah, it's something that it's a little bit of a recurring theme, because even though I learned a lot from my past experiences with drug addiction, it comes back to bite you. You know what I mean? And it's like, let's say if you have 10 years of experience of taking heroin every day, it's not going to be overnight where you're going to overcome that problem. You're going to have to pay the price. You have to pay the karmic debt, so to speak, right? You got to pay for your sins if you want to take a more Christian approach. But yeah, it all adds up. It all adds up. And you can't take away, you can't undo that action, is how I see it. And I've learned that I think if I never got into drugs, and this is not a healthy mental exercise to go into, like, what if I didn't go into it? It's like, well, you did it. Don't fucking think about that shit. So you just got to take it as it comes, man. And yeah, pay your karmic debt, but it will eventually get paid. You'll transcend it, and it will be like this beautiful thing. That's what happened to me anyway. Salt nicotine is basically, say, 12%, 24%, 36%, and even 50% nicotine bunched up, almost like salt. And when you intake it, it dissolves and gives you a head rush of a nicotine a couple seconds after you hit. Holy shit. So this is like the freebase cocaine version of nicotine, it sounds. That's intense. Did you combine DMT with some other psychedelics? No, thank God I didn't. Actually, no, that's a lie. I was high once, like from weed, and that was a big mistake. Do you think they will legalize weed in Oz? Yeah, of course, but it's just a matter of time of when. I think it'll take a long time, to be honest. I think in terms of drug prohibition, Australia is really, really behind, man. Like I think in South Australia, I read an article a few months ago, but they were saying how they want to increase the harshness of penalty for weed consumption, just possession, right? So they're kind of they're taking a backwards approach. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Depends on the state. I think Victoria is a lot more liberal when it comes to that. But even then, if a person's brain doesn't produce enough serotonin, despite daily exercise and a consistent nourishing diet, wouldn't SSRIs be a solution to their suffering? I don't know if you were here during the live stream, because I don't want to keep repeating stuff because people join in late. But again, the real cause of depression, and I am simplifying it, I would recommend actually reading the book, The Real Cause of Depression and Anxiety by Johan something or other. It's loneliness. Like, you need to work on getting a tribe, on getting a community. That's going to help you 1 billion times more than SSRIs ever could. Very scientific, Tom. Billion. Yes, exactly. 1 billion. $1 billion. What was being high and doing DMT like? Very confused. It was personally during that state, because I did it with people I didn't know very well, so I was already in a bit of an unsettling state, but I went in a very, like this, I've made a trip report on it, actually, if you want to check it out, but in short, I met the sinister Joker. It was scary, man, like this Satan's circus playground kind of realm. Yeah, it was just really sinister and evil. Luckily, it only lasted 10 minutes, so they did apply them laws in SA already, dude. Then they went back on it, and it's the same again. It was very recent. Well, there you go. Luckily, we got some fellow Aussies here. You can definitely feel lonely even though you're surrounded by friends. So no, that's not always a solution. Thank you for bringing that up, because I should clarify. When I say loneliness, it doesn't mean being around people, right? That's why when I say the real cause of depression, the underlying causes of depression and anxiety is loneliness and disconnection, is because you need connection with people that you can really, obviously, people that you can really connect with, people that resonate with you, you know, because they found, actually, they did some studies on the people who felt the most isolated were the ones who worked at jobs where they dealt with people all the time. And that can actually make it worse. When you feel so lonely and you're just hanging around with people that you can't really connect with, that can make it worse. So it's not necessarily hanging out with a number of people. It's about finding a tribe. Yeah, that's why I emphasized tribe. You need a tribe. Because if you feel alone with your friends, then I'm sorry to say, I don't think they're your tribe. Are you and your girlfriend Latino? Yes, I'm half Latino. I'm half Chilean. My girlfriend's full Chilean. Oh. Okay, so gone over an hour. I'm probably going to do this live stream for another 20 minutes. If you guys have anything you want to chat about or any questions, now's your chance, because I don't do live streams very often. Okay. Fuck, people are very interested in salvia. See, I was so, because when I first got into psychedelics, I was so curious and I wanted to try it all. I almost tried 5-MeO DMT. Thank God I didn't. Literally. Talk more about Jungian psychology in reference to psychedelics. Oh, what do you want to know? Not that I'm an expert on Jungian psychology, but, you know, I'm pretty well versed in it. Ever tried 4H? No. Okay, just so I can make a blanket statement to any future questions on research chemicals and stuff. No, I have. The only research chemical I've ever tried was 1P LSD. And that's it. No, I wouldn't again. I think that research chemicals, and I know that there's no such thing as good or bad drugs, which I've said before, but I do think that research chemicals are bad. 5-MeO will wreck you. Trust me. Yeah, probably. That's why I didn't take it. And then people get really weird. I've met a lot of people who've had a 5-MeO DMT and then literally believe they're God. So I don't want to go down that route. Route. Do you guys say route or root? Because root in Australia means sex. Do you have loose or attached earlobes? Loose. Heroin for brekkie can't. Yeah, heroin. Yeah, good for the cholesterol, mate. Don't you get bored of drugs? I don't really take drugs. I have an impression social media tend to isolate people paradoxically by focusing on appearance and conformity. Do you have an opinion on how they could be used to federate rather than separate? It's a very good question, Antoine. Yes, I do think that. See, this is another classic example of just because you know more people, it doesn't make you feel more connected, and you can actually feel even more alone. And this is what happens to a lot of YouTubers and things like that. And I've had a taste of this myself after my existential crisis, right? I've had, like, all you guys, all these followers and all these fans, right? You think that I would never feel alone, but it made me feel even more isolated. And with social media, yeah, because it's all basically people's highlight reels, and they never show the behind the scenes. So then when people go through shit times, they look at their favorite social media influencers and they say, oh, this guy's well put together. He's loving life. But it's like, you don't know that, right? Literally 2 seconds after that person takes his amazing photo in Hawaii, he could be like, oh yeah, fucking yeah, fucking. You could be miserable. You don't know that. And that is the price that we're paying for social media. As awesome as it is for connecting people, it's also disconnecting people, like you said, paradoxically. So how do we use it in a way where it can connect us? That's a good question. I don't know. I haven't thought about it. I'll have to get back to you, but maybe something like this, more live streams where it's like live. I don't know. It's a good question. If you guys have an answer for that, I would like to know. I think depression is more than just a symptom of an ego. So once you reconnect with the source, depression should go away, even if you have no people around you at all. So your outer world is just a reflection of the inner world. Yeah, if you can do it, awesome, for sure. But just remember, like, let's just say that you reconnect with source and God, and you absolutely beaming with light and love and all that kind of stuff, even though you have no friends. Imagine if you did have a tribe. It'd even be better, right? Because your human self, which is, in my opinion, a part of the soul, and that's why we need to integrate this human part of ourselves. Because, I don't know, man, I think it can be a slippery slope as well, just denying the self, like, oh, the ego is an illusion, it doesn't exist. It's like, it depends what perspective you're looking from, but it just seems like a convenient justification to not work on yourself, because it's scary shit delving deep into the human psyche. You know what I mean? And being a fully integrated being. Have you seen Enter the Void? I have. Do you believe in Jesus? In what way? Like, do I believe he was a real person, or do I believe him symbolically? But yeah, I would say Jesus is easily one of my most influential spiritual teachers, for sure. Definitely. He actually really helped during my existential crisis a little, so I went in a little bit into Christianity and Gnosticism, more of that side of things. And because I never looked at it, because I grew up Catholic, and I was a rebel, I was anti-establishment. So just the fact that I grew up in a Catholic school, I'm like, fuck this, I'm an atheist, right? And then I realized that's just as ridiculous, if not more ridiculous, than believing a guy's in the cloud judging you for masturbating. God in... yeah, so it's kind of a full circle moment. Sorry if I feel, if I look a bit scattered, guys. It's just my ADHD kicks in when I'm reading all these comments. Like I'm in the middle of a rant, and then I just see all these comments scrolling. So it's like breaking me out of my focus. But do I believe Jesus as God in human form? Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there, man. What to use the Jordan Peterson route? It's like, what do you mean by God? What do you mean by human? Oh, what do you mean by Jesus? But do I believe he was the real deal? Yeah, I do. It seems like social media, like Snapchat, that focuses on one-on-one communication is a better format for social media. Yeah, sure. I try to stay away from all social media, and I know it's ironic because it's like my job, but that's why I'm like actively try to avoid all social media because like YouTube's enough, man. That's why I don't know how people could do, like, you know, people who do daily vlogs and stuff. I mean, look, props to them, but fuck, that would drive me insane. What's your opinion on daily use of CBD, hemp, or cannabis for pain issues where you can't function normally? Well, of course, yeah, it depends on your situation. I think that using any drug every day is a bad thing, but of course, you got to weigh up the pros and the cons. If you're in severe chronic pain all the time, and this is literally the only thing that can help you, then yeah, so be it. Do what helps, man, but just be honest with yourself, is what I would say to that. I'm sorry for coming off a bit aggressive, but it's a bit far to say go for it for a 15-year-old. I do. Yes, it does. Can you teach me how to whistle? Chances of you being featured on an upcoming Big Les show episode. I wish. That would be good. I don't think Jared would be against it. I can do my Bogan accents pretty well. Do you think Jesus' mum is actually a virgin? See, I don't know. See, that's when it starts to get a bit, I don't know. I think, I don't even, because the thing is with the Bible, it's a lot of it's parables, right? So it's, you're meant to take it in symbolically, not literal. I don't think. Maybe some things did happen literally, and it also means, it also has a symbolic meaning to it as well. I don't know, man. I wasn't there. I wasn't there 2,000 years ago, so I don't know. Because like when it comes to Christianity and Jesus and stuff like that, I tend to just focus on the teachings of Jesus himself, and I only focus on that, and I disregard everything else in a way. Not everything. I don't want to say everything, of course not, because that would be egoic of me, because I've done that before. I said, oh, Bible, but there's a lot of truth in the Bible as well, right? And they've predicted a lot of shit that's coming true today as well. And I don't think that's a coincidence. Now, I'm not saying that it's true 100% of the time. I'm sure there's a lot of bullshit, like with everything. And I think every philosophy has its pros and its cons. So just take what resonates with you, take what's valuable, and then disregard the rest and move on. Tom, do you do YouTube as full-time job? Yes, I do. So it's that, as well as like, you know, merch and a whole bunch of other stuff. But yeah, and I've got some others. I don't want to like talk about it too much here, but I've got other stuff planned. What do you think of Islam? I'm not touching that. Sorry, dude. Because I'm going to come from an ignorant standpoint, because I haven't read the Quran. You know what I mean? I just know the criticisms of Islam, of what Sam Harris says and things like that. So I'd rather, I've made the mistake, and I even still to this day, I catch myself making the mistake of speaking about shit that I don't actually know about. So I would just try to stick with what I know to a certain extent, you know, within reason, of course. What do you think the best way to delve into the human psyche is? Would mushrooms or shrooms be better? Shrooms is mushrooms, but I've done both fairly high doses. To delve deep into the human psyche, I would say you'd probably get more reading autobiographies with people from all different fields. You know, go out and wonder, talk to somebody, talk to a homeless person, because it's all extensions of you, right? So you learning about someone else and their life could greatly teach you a whole bunch about yourself. And in my opinion, even more so than what psychedelics can teach you. Bogan accent, don't you mean your normal accent? How dare you, Ryan? How rude. Okay, fine. Really, Bogan. Jesus was just smoking DMT, I think. And that's absolute bullshit, dude. I'm sorry, but isn't it funny that it's like I said, depending on what your belief systems are, you're gonna project that into other realities. So if you're like a full-time trip and you take psychedelics all the time, you're gonna think that Jesus was a mushroom and that Moses smoked DMT and all these people did all these psychedelics, right? And if you're really into aliens, you're gonna think, oh, maybe Jesus was an alien, blah 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 blah. So I really don't think so, man. And the reason for this, because he was the real deal. And like I said, there's no such thing as an enlightened tripper. They can only help you during like the initial awakening phases, which is really important. And I think we need that. But anything past that, it's like you need to be able to transcend any external substance to help you connect with your divine nature. You know what I mean? And I'm still in the early stages of this progress. But yeah, no, I don't think he smoked DMT. I think you got to learn to read the Bible in context, reading parables as parables and literal writings as that. Yeah. Well, see, I don't know too much because I haven't actually read the Bible. I've only read certain passages, and I have like the Gospel of Thomas, for example, been pretty into that. Yeah, it depends. I don't know. There's so much, man. You could study the Bible your whole life and still extract profound wisdom from it, you know? Every religion is true to the point of which each wants to be true to them, because in the end, we're all God. Haha, I'm Jesus' father. No, you're not, dude. That's New Age ideology. Bullshit. I'm actually making a video, my biggest project to date, really diving into the divine paradox and debunking this whole "you are God" nonsense, which I'm not going to get into here because I've got a whole video on it. I've spent 18 months just formulating these ideas in my head, and then a whole other 2 months just writing the script. So I think it's going to be really cool. I think you guys are going to love it. It's going to trigger some people, though. Do you think the risks of psychedelics are worth the benefits? I can't answer that. I'm sorry. I don't know. Something that I got my ass kicked from my last psychedelic trip, especially because of like me having this YouTube channel. And like when you're an influencer, you have to be that much more careful of what you say and how people interpret your stuff, because whether you like it or not, you do have an influence on people. So I'm like super, super careful when I talk about psychedelics, as you guys have probably noticed. But yeah. So no, I am God. And relative to what? It makes no sense. No one fucking knows. Thoughts on Alan Watts? I love the dude. He's awesome. I think he's limited in some of the things that he's been teaching, but you know, time goes on. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people are going to look at what I say in 20 years' time from now and think it's complete bullshit. I'm going to call myself out, and I will. So, but I think he was a genuine dude who has a lot of profound wisdom to share, especially helping people through like going through these existential issues, you know? Hey, you should make a series about going around Australia and seeing how easy it is to get drugs. That could be an interesting video, perhaps. The Earth is alive and is the shape of a pancake. Yes, it is. The shape of a cosmic penis. I guess that Jesus, Muhammad, etc., all had enlightening experiences reached through extreme physical states, and I also think those or similar states can be archived through psychedelics as well. Like, I get what you're saying, but also with psychedelics, that it's altered states of consciousness. right? It's not necessarily high states of consciousness. I think that having enlightening experience without the use of drugs will be different to getting those perceived experiences with drugs. Again, have you ever met an enlightened tripper? This is a question I'm going to ask a lot because I've never met one in my life, ever, right? So, yeah, the proof is in the pudding, man. Congrats on the 100K, Tom. You deserve $1 million. Well, I don't know about that, but I'm working on that, like just becoming a better filmmaker. We are actually gods. By this, I mean we construct our experience. We blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I know, but you even said it. It's funny because you said it subconsciously. You said it in your sentence. You said we are actually gods, but you put a lowercase g, right? And yeah, I would agree. We are children of gods. We are gods in our own right, but we're not the big dog, right? The all. What it says in the Campbellian. Muhammad, Jesus, and other prophets couldn't have taken drugs because it's forbidden. Back then, I don't think mushrooms was forbidden back then. Maybe it was. Actually, I have no idea. You know what? Scratch that again. I'm trying to not talk about shit I have no idea about. Have you ever used the mind exploration goal as an excuse instead of admitting to yourself that you just want to trip? Oh, yeah, of course. That's why I've finally learned that lesson. That's why even now, every once in a while, I'll have like that, oh, yeah, maybe a low dose mushroom. And I'll be like, no, come on, Tom. Don't fall into this bullshit again. Yeah, I agree. Because then I ask myself, like, what happened if psychedelics didn't give you all these amazingly mystical visuals? What happened if they didn't give you feel-good emotions? People wouldn't be tripping on them as much anyway. That would be cool, but YouTube wouldn't like it. The drug thing, yeah. Well, about traveling Australia. No, I'll do more traveling Australia. I don't know about like buying drugs, but I like the idea of traveling Australia, making like a vlog out of it. Actually, I'll let you, for those who've been on this live stream for this long, I'm actually going to go to Uruguay and Chile to visit family in January. And I'm going to meet my friend Felipe, and I'm going to do a mini documentary on the weed legalization situation that they've got going on there. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, so they've completely legalized weed to the point where I'm pretty sure you can have up to 6 plants per household or something like that. But yeah, I'm super excited, man. I think it's going to be cool. And I've been studying and studying. I think like my video editing skills and like filmmaking and cinematography, I've just been studying like crazy. So that the next documentary I make will be like another level. Is weed Chile? No. It's not legal in Chile. It's legal in Uruguay. Yeah. No. It's not in Chile. I think medical CBD has just become legal. I guess I'll see. I'll be documenting my experience when I go over there. Sweet. I would love to see that vid. Yeah. I'm excited. Because those are the kind of videos that make me the most excited, is like the collaboration, going out there and giving people a different perspective. You're too Hollywood if you went and say, yo, gabba gabba. What's yo gabba gabba? Tom, do you know Bill Hicks? If yes, what are your thoughts on this dude? Yeah, so for those who don't know, Bill Hicks is a stand-up comedian. He died a while ago, didn't he? I think he has some really interesting points, but he's not like, in my opinion anyway, I don't think he's like one of the funniest stand-up comics out there, if that makes sense. Yes, Bill died of brain cancer. There you go. So, yeah, I think he was maybe went a bit too far with the drugs and stuff. Tom, you're a national hero. I don't know about that. Then maybe I should take the Dark Knight's philosophy advice. And what did he say? It's like, you either live long enough. No, wait, you either die a hero or live long enough to become a villain or something like that. So maybe I should quit now that I'm ahead. Your choice, but don't overdo it. Any future projects us live streams can get a sneak peek on? Yeah, so the next video that I'm working on, which again is by far the biggest project I've ever worked on, and it's like, it's awesome, don't get me wrong, and I'm having fun doing it, but sometimes it's like, dude, what am I doing? This is like too much work for like one fucking video. But I want it to be one of those videos that people always refer back to, and it's the whole divine paradox and really debunking this whole "you are God" nonsense. And I go super, super deep. I studied so many different angles, and like, oh man, I don't even want to get into it now. It's just, you'll see it when it comes. I think it'll be better. But yeah, that's going to be one. It's going to be in the similar style to like the Untold Truth about drugs and the ego death video that I made not too long ago. And what else? Yeah, podcasts. Got like a mini vlog doco thing with Jared Wright as well. We went to a mountain. What is it called? Mount Wollumbin. And it's like one of the most spiritual landmarks in Australia, apparently, according to the Aboriginals. And it's incredible, man. Yeah. What can I say? What do you think about the overly enthusiastic vibe surrounding psychedelics today? It seems every video I see today about them only talk about the positive effects it can have on individuals. Yeah, it seems like it, man. This psychedelic evangelical movement. I think it's more of like an ego thing, you know, like, because when you first join a community, you're like overly excited, you know, you only want to see the good side of it and then completely ignore the bad side, and you're completely oblivious to it. And this is what happened to people who joined Scientology. And right from now, like, you can, from our perspective, we're looking at it from an outside view, right? And you see like, oh, these people are idiots. How can you get jibbed into going into Scientology? But you got to remind yourself that a lot of these people are actually very intelligent, like very smart, intelligent people, but they got fooled because they wanted to believe it, right? And whilst ignoring all the fucking shady shit that goes on. And then what happens? Yeah. I'm also talking about the researchers talking about them. Yeah. Well, again, it's just a part of the identity. I don't know. They're just, you got to look at it from a neutral standpoint. Kate Cabrano is a Scientologist. I have no idea who Kate Cabrano is. I'm sure there's a lot of stupid people who are Scientologists. I don't know if you're referring to Kate as intelligent or not intelligent. You'll have to tell me. But all I'm saying is that, like, you might get overexcited at first and might ignore the dark side of it. That's what happened to me. And now that I've seen the dark side of it, and I'm not just talking about psychedelics, I'm talking about the community itself. It's very hard to unsee that. And now it's, yeah, I can't help it. She's an Australian musician. Okay. Huh. Fair enough. Yeah, but psychedelic. Yeah, no, of course, I'm not. Yeah, please don't make the mistake of me comparing psychedelics to Scientology. That's a whole different thing. But I just used it as an example. I think it's better people take psychedelics over being enthusiastic about psychedelics. Yeah, but you're saying like, oh, it's better to have this thing. Like, I don't know. I don't think it's good to be too enthusiastic over psychedelics just because we don't know what they actually do and what the long-term repercussions are and what they do on other levels. You know, like, I mean, yeah, we're just starting to understand what they do to our brain chemistry, but we have no idea what it's doing to our emotional body, our spiritual body. I don't even think science has even discovered a spiritual body, but you know what I mean? But Westworld coming to life. Yeah, I know, right? But I think people should be more enthusiastic about just being human, being sober, you know, being more enthusiastic about meditation and traveling and things like that, you know. If separation is an illusion, then how would we be separate to God? I'm looking forward to your video. It sounds cool. It's got me curious. I never said we're separate to God. I said that you're not God. It's different. Of course. It's like the saying goes, you know, the all is within the earthworm, but the earthworm is far from being the all, right? So while we all have a divine piece of God's essence within all of us throughout all of reality, it doesn't mean that you are the thing itself. You know what I mean? Okay. Yeah, because it can just be a egoic trap to think this, because God by its very essence is unknowable. So in other words, we don't know. Like the human mind will never be able to grasp the concept of God. So you saying that you are God is implying that you know what it actually is. So it just makes no sense. Thoughts on intermittent fasting? I think it's great. I did it today, actually. Because I was going to eat before this podcast, this live stream, but I didn't want to, I don't know, because after I eat a meal, my brain sort of turns into sludge. I suppose it depends on the meal itself, but yeah. Is heroin a psychedelic? I wouldn't consider it to be a psychedelic, but sure, it could have psychedelic effects. I think any drug can. Oh no. See, this is the thing. Yeah, doing a 7-gram golden teacher trip in about 3 hours, trying to kill this ego of mine. It's just going to come back stronger, dude. You remember this. That's hilarious. You'll never kill your ego. Are you ignoring my questions? What questions? Dude, have you seen this thing? Winnie Blues, mate. Yeah, mate. Go vegan. Oh, mostly vegan. I eat eggs, though. Saw James W. Gesso at a festival in Europe. When will you also be making lectures and festivals? Yeah, maybe one day. I can see myself going towards like speaking gigs and being more part of the community. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying this isn't community. You know what I mean? Like in real life, I mean, like meeting up with people in real life. Are you implying that mushrooms do not help? No. I'm not implying that they help or don't help. I'm just giving the other side. It's just when people get too excited on the other side of the spectrum, I need to kind of ground that person and remind them that it's helpful, but not all the time. What do you think happens when we die? Well, I haven't died yet, so I don't know. But if I had to guess, we'd go back to source, right? And then start another life. That's just if I have to guess, so don't take that answer too seriously. Do you think weed is a psychedelic? Because after psychedelics, when you smoke weed, you can have a full-on trip again just for weed. Oh, yeah, definitely. It is a psychedelic. I wouldn't consider it a classic psychedelic to the same extent as mushrooms and LSD, but yeah, it is. I'd say it's a mild psychedelic. You know, unless you have like a huge edible dose or something. I don't know. Yeah, I tripped out on weed yesterday. I need balance. Oh, of course you're not. That's just my asshole coming out. My bad. I need balance. Huh? I'd say that we are life itself instead of God. It means the same, but God isn't abused. Well, it's not. Well, it's different. Because the universe is not God. The universe is an expression of God, right? So, and this is the common problem when people try to find the existence of God within existence itself, right? You're never gonna, you're gonna be looking forever, you know. It's like if I was to create a cartoon character, like, yes, that cartoon character has an essence of me, but it's not me, right? Do you believe in free speech? Yeah, of course. Like, do I believe it's a thing, or am I for free speech? So what is God? Okay, guys, I don't know if I want to get into this whole God thing right now. Like I said, I'm making a video. It's going to answer all the questions. And it's going to be really concise. So I think you guys will like it. And then after that, I'm going to do something that's not about existential philosophy, because, man, it takes a long time to construct a good script. Let's not get into God. Yeah, exactly. Not right now. Come on, guys. Let's keep it light. It's too deep. What were your experiences with smoking weed on shrooms or acid? Was it the come down? I've only smoked weed on acid a couple times, and it definitely potentiated the trip itself, but it also increased the confusion factor. So I didn't like it. And that's coming from someone who likes weed. I just don't like to mix it. Congrats on the 100K. Did you ever get some form of derealization or depersonalization from the mushrooms or other drugs you've taken? Well, yeah, I had derealization and full-blown existential crisis after my Boga trip over 18 months ago, which was my last trip I had. And yeah, it was fucking brutal, man. What can I say? I could write a book about that trip and what I learned from it. Alrighty then. I'm gonna make a video about God and it's gonna answer all the questions. I mean, all your questions on my opinion of it, of course. Didn't mean to throw negative energy at you earlier. You did? Okay. Well, if you did, I think I deflected it pretty well. So it's all good, man. It's all good, brother. We don't want a whole bunch of yes men. So if I say something that doesn't make sense, I want you guys to call me out, you know. Okay. I think that's it for the live stream, guys. Went for an hour and 40 minutes. I hope it wasn't too boring. It's just been a while, so I gotta get my feet wet again. Tom, do you want to trip again in the future? No, not really. I'm good. Life is trippy enough, man. I don't need drugs. So, unless you want to, yeah, if you guys want to answer another question before I go, please let me know. Something that's not about psychedelics, or if it's too young to trip at this age. We get a lot of those, I notice. Probably one of my most asked questions. Should I smoke weed? Oh no, should I take LSD at 15? No. Maybe when you're 80, some DMT. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I'm still young, but yeah, I'm good. There is a little bit of fear of like, fuck, what happens if I go down this really dark realm again? Or what happens if I get ungrounded? Because that's something I don't want. I like to stay in my human body. I really do. And for the first time in my life, I like myself. Not in like an arrogant way, like I'm up myself, but like I like myself. You know, I like being this incarnation. It's good. You know, I have a nice life. I'm healthy. I live in a good environment. I'm just grateful. So, what do you think about positive nihilism? It's better than pessimistic nihilism, I suppose, but still nihilism. I think nihilism is a cheap trick of the rational mind to justify not having any responsibility. That's my personal belief on that. I just don't think it's a healthy philosophy. In fact, I think it's almost like not a mental illness, but like it's just, I just don't see any fulfilled nihilist. I never met one. So I don't know. I kind of judge philosophies on the merit of the character of the person that believes it. And I think that's a good way to go. Congrats, bro. Oh, cheers. Audible's here. What's going on, man? Thanks for having me on your channel the other month. It's been a while, hasn't it? Yeah. Time, man. What are some of your favorite content creators on YouTube? Any channels you'd recommend? Much love from Canberra. Yes. My tastes have changed over time, but I think now one of my favorites is Dan Mace. He works with Casey Neistat. I think he makes amazing short films, and he's a big inspiration for me. And he just inspires me just to become a better filmmaker, you know. What else? Chris Ramsey. He's like a magician vlog channel. That's pretty good. I've been getting into that lately. It just depends when you ask me. Vsauce is always good. Vsauce 3. Elliot Hulse. Even though I don't listen to him much anymore, I just really appreciate him as a person. What else? I would have to go on my subscription page. I don't really want to right now. Is that weed? I'm calling the cops. No, it's literally legal herbs like Damiana and shit like that. Why do you vape? That was funny. This is the first time I've vaped in like 3 months. So I don't really. It's just sometimes. What vape juice are you using? Check the description box. It's Bear Blends if you want to check it out. Anyway, I do this a lot. I'll be like, all right, guys, I'm going. And then I'll get some interesting questions. I'll be like, oh, yeah, I want to stay. But it's been a while since I've eaten, guys. So I'm going to make myself some food and get a good night's rest. Continue working on this video and get this podcast ready because I got to record the intro and just get all this shit sorted with the sponsor so I can release it. So, yeah. So what's the future of your mate Tom, bud? I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, just better myself as a person and take it as it comes, become a better filmmaker, a better speaker, provide more thought-provoking perspectives, traveling, more documentaries, and yeah, just improve as an artist, I suppose, because that's the approach I've been taking for YouTube, which is why each video takes longer and longer and longer to make. So it's, yeah, I don't know. It's good and bad, I suppose. Keep the uplifting videos coming. That's good. All right. Anyways, guys, peace out. Much love.